Monday evening.
Love ball like I do. After Dark's a must listen.
That's where I go to get my hoops fixed.
This is Field of 68 After Dark.
Hello and welcome to the Monday evening edition of the Field of 68 After Dark. My name is Rob Dauster. I have John Henson. I have Matt McCall with me, and we are starting this thing off with a bang. We are joined by the man of the hour, Wofford head coach Dwight Perry, fresh off of cutting down the nets for the first time as a head coach. Dwight, I see that smile on your face, man. Congratulations on the win. I know you're feeling good. I know you're celebrating. How does it feel, man? You got that net around your neck. How long is that thing going to stay on?
Muted.
Coach, you're muted. Yeah. I'm gonna vamp a little bit. Dwight Perry, he is a Kentucky alum.
Trust me. Don't take it off. Just leave it on. Yeah. Just leave it on. It's the best night of your life. Just leave it on. Okay. Just don't take it off at all.
Can you hear me now?
All right, we're good. Yeah, we got you. Dwight, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I mean, obviously, as you can imagine, I'm feeling pretty good right now. But I don't know how long I'm gonna have it on, Matt. I hear you. You would know better than me, that's for sure. But I tell you what, it's a good feeling to have, and it's a good dilemma to be in to figure out how long I'm gonna keep it on.
Coach, tell me why this team could go to the NCAA and win a game. What makes this team special? You know, especially with tonight getting the win and playing so well.
Yeah, we have a great group, and we have a great group of people. Our guys have been through a lot. We've dealt with a lot of adversity. You know, a big part of it is we're not really relying on just one player. We have a group of guys that are willing to step up when it's their night, and, you know, whether it's scoring, rebounding, playmaking, screening, defending, I just think we do it by committee. And so it's really hard to key in just on one particular guy, or to even kind of take away one particular aspect of the game, whether it's threes, whether it's twos, you know, and layups. I just think we're really versatile. And, you know, one thing that I think is really undervalued, and it's hard when you just only watch film and you don't pick it up unless you're playing us, is I think we're a real physical team, and we compete on the defensive end of the floor. We play really hard. Our guys, I think, are relatively tough. And I just think, you know, those type of components of playing hard and being tough and being gritty and being, you know, pretty versatile on offense, that's a recipe for success no matter where you're playing, no matter what environment, and no matter what team.
Coach, you spent some time at VCU. You spent some time at Furman. You spent time as an assistant at Wofford, and then you got your opportunity to become a head coach there. What did you learn along the way during those times? And when you got your opportunity here to be a head coach, this moment, how did it prepare you to get your team to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, during one of those stops, I was taking some losses from a Matt McCall Chattanooga team, so that's number one. But, you know, along the way, I think it's going to sound really cheesy and really, you know, repetitive, but, you know, anyone that's been around sports, we all know in a team setting, you got to have a great group of guys that are willing to play unselfish and are willing to work towards a common goal that's far greater than anything that they're individually going to accomplish. And you mentioned all those places, VCU, you know, my time at Furman as an assistant, my time at Wofford as an assistant. You know, I think that's the common denominator is you end up being around a bunch of great people that are willing to work hard. And if you all pour in towards one common goal, you know, you have a chance. It's not guaranteed, right? You're not the only team that's trying to bottle up that formula. There's a lot of really good teams out there that are really talented. And so we all know winning is hard. Anyone that's won the championship knows it's hard, and a lot goes into it. And it's never perfect. There's peaks and valleys. But if you stay the course, you give yourself a chance. And that's what our team did this year. It wasn't perfect. We lost games. We all felt like we probably should have won, but we didn't. But we stayed the course, and our guys have continued to battle. Even all the way through the last regular season game, we lost on a buzzer beater, a heartbreaker to the Furman team that we just beat. And I've been around a lot of teams that probably would have hung their head with what our team has gone through and, losing in that fashion. But we played on Saturday. We took off Sunday. And I knew we had a chance on Monday when our team had more pop and more energy and more positivity than we probably had all year. And I knew, again, it wasn't guaranteed. But on Monday, I knew we had a group that, we had a chance to do this thing because our guys were locked in and they were focused on the goal that we set out when the season started.
Coach, the Furman loss you mentioned, I always say when we played, like losing a little earlier, having a bad loss kind of made us sit up in our seat a little bit and start to listen a little bit. So did that happen with your team when they took the loss of Furman? And game plan wise, was there something that you did different today that maybe you propelled you guys to get this victory?
Yeah, I think, so the first time we played them, we obviously beat them pretty convincingly. We won, I think we won by 19, but we were up 20, the majority of the game. And then we came into game 2. We played them the fourth game of the season in our conference, but then we played them the last game of the regular season. So obviously there was a lot of time in between those two games. But they jumped out on us early in the second game at our place. They were up 12-0, and I think they got up as much as 19 in the beginning of the first half. And then around the 8-minute mark, we kind of settled in. We took that punch, and, we slowly and gradually got back into the game, and we ended up taking the lead around 3 minutes left. But to your point, John, as a coach and as competitors, you don't want to admit it, but the reality is if we won by 20 the first time and then you come back and you win the game the second time, the reality is I do think sometimes, right, you kind of get that false sense of reality of like, oh, we're just going to beat this team and, it was meant to be. And so while it did obviously sting and burn losing any game, but especially losing that game and the way in which we lost, I absolutely think, I don't know if it kind of gave us a wake-up call, but as we all know, going into any tournament setting, there needs to be a balance of confidence, but also that edge and kind of that sense of urgency. And we all know it's kind of really hard to toe that line, and it can be very fluid. But I definitely think that loss definitely helped us with the urgency and kind of chip on our shoulder that we had. And then, again, a credit to our guys for being able to stay confident going into the week. Because, again, I think, as we all know, that confidence with 18 to 23-year-olds today can be very fluid and very fickle. But, our guys definitely towed that line really well, starting with ETSU all the way through tonight.
Coach, first of all, celebrate. Enjoy this. I know there'll be a party for you when you get back to campus. But what does this week look like for your team before Selection Sunday? Like, what will you guys do? I'm sure you'll take a couple days off, but how will you prepare going into Selection Sunday?
Yeah, I think, as you would know, the pros and cons of playing the SoCon tournament probably a week early. You obviously, if you're fortunate enough to win, you do get that time to break up about a week in between. And obviously different coaches, I'm sure, do it differently. For us, our academic calendar is a little different. We actually, most schools, I think this time of year are on spring break. Our guys still have school. And so, we'll probably take a couple days off, like you said. We'll kind of ease back in. We only had eight healthy guys going into this tournament. So, a lot of guys logged a lot of minutes. So we'll probably gradually build back up with some, lighter practices. Probably won't be too crazy and too hectic. Obviously, we'll have Sunday to where we'll figure out where we're going, who we're playing, and then we'll kind of go from there. But we'll definitely take the next couple of days to kind of rest and recharge so that we can get our guys back, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. Because as we all know, 3 days and three games in 3 days, it's not just the physical toll that it takes on you. It's the emotional and mental. But, there is a reality. You definitely want to stay sharp.
Hey, Henson, I got a quick question for you. Do you know what your career shooting percentage in the league was? Do you know off the top of your head? Free throw shooting.
Oh, free throws, 55, 60, baby.
57%.
I thought you were going to ask Henson. I thought you were going to ask Henson if he was going to go to class after winning a championship. Henson saying no way he's going to class after winning a championship. No way. No way.
Psychologist. So I would have had a free throw psychologist once.
Yeah, here's my question, Dwight. Dwight, if you had gotten a hold of Henson and taught him the granny style free throws like your boy Kyler Filowich does, do you think you could have gotten him above 57% career free throws?
I don't know. I mean, the thing with John was playing with a group of guys that probably like consistently led the country in offensive rebounding percentage. So at the end of the day, whether he's making it or missing it, all they're doing is just playing volleyball and going back up to get it. So, it's not the worst thing in the world for the free throw to come off.
Yeah, no, it was my whole career, it was a tread lightly situation with all coaches. I was just trying to, I just try to make them. And I told when I played more and I got more in rhythm of the game, especially in the NBA, I made my free throws. So I coach played me more consistently and I knock them down.
That's a real thing. I believe it.
Good job, man. I like that. Listen, Dwight, congratulations on the win, man. We'll let you go.
Enjoy,
celebrate.
Enjoy. Congrats.
We're looking forward,
you, man.
We are all Terriers here, man. We are all Terriers here. So go celebrate. Dwight Perry, Wofford head coach, celebrating his first trip as a head coach to the NCAA tournament. Listen, we got more coming. We're going to connect with Scott Cross, the head coach of Troy, who also punched a ticket to the dance tonight. But Henson, we were talking about this a little bit before we hit record. As a higher seed, as one like the 1 or the 2 seed, McCall, you can weigh on this too because you were at Florida when you guys
hold on.
Really
Can we bring this back up though? Can we bring this back? Henson, you win a championship, you ain't not going to class. Coach said they got to get back because of their academic calendar. Like those guys ain't going to class, Henson, right? Come
on. I can't remember. That means I didn't go. Yeah.
How do you? All right.
After the clock hit January.
Shout out to Coach for saying that they got to get back for class. But come on, Coach. Them boys ain't going to class. Come on. He said the right thing. You got to give him credit. Young head coach. He said the right thing.
That's a high-level academic institution. They might need to go
I'm
to
sure
class.
It is. They're not going to class tomorrow. They're not going to class.
What are they doing on a Monday night? What are they doing on a Monday night in Wofford? They're going to sleep.
All right, so we're going to be joined by Scott Cross here in a second, but I wanted to hit you on this, Henson. How do you, when you are the higher seed and you're playing a team here where you're kind of looking at them like, man, these guys from the mid-major ranks, we're North Carolina, we're the University of Florida, we are, we're a team that's a top seed. How do you avoid that letdown that everybody kind of runs into when you get upset?
I always saw it. We could smell fear. Right? We could smell fear. On team we walked on the court, we could smell fear. You got to, like a mercenary, you got to take them out quickly, right? Just let them know that it's going to be a long day. They cannot compete. They cannot match up because basketball is a weird and it's a funny sport. And it's a beautiful sport because anybody can lose on any given night. I don't care if you have LeBron James and D Wade and me and McCall. If we play 100 times and LeBron James and D Wade don't come to play, we're going to win one, right? So that's just the nature of the beast. So you want to make sure that you, snuff them out before they can realize what's going on. That's how I would see it. Or the confidence is going to build, and now you got a ball game, and they hit a couple threes here, a couple lucky shots there, nothing to lose. Now all of a sudden it's a 1 or 2 possession game, and it gets tight, and you miss some free throws, and now you're going home like Purdue. So you definitely have to establish your dominance early, or it will be a long night.
All right. Well, listen, we're now joined by Troy head coach Scott Cross, who advanced to his second NCAA tournament as a head coach tonight, his first since 2008. Scott, it's great to see you, man. Congratulations on the win. Where are you filming out of? Are you getting a team dinner there? Looks like, what is that, a Buffalo Wild Wings behind you?
We're at Sidelines here in Pensacola Beach. We wanted to kind of soak up the moment a little bit. Don't want this night to end for sure, but the guys are just now getting something to eat, and they just saw their highlights on, I would assume, I think it's ESPN, and they were hooping and hollering, so it was a pretty great moment for the guys.
I don't know. They might have been celebrating that you were on the field of 68 after dark, Coach.
That too.
So Coach, I'm a big fisherman. I know exactly where you're at. I fish up there. But so the tide turned, it looked like, they had momentum and you guys just came storming back. I mean, you had them flustered. What changed in the game? Was there a moment in the game that just changed the momentum for you guys?
Yeah, I called a timeout. It was probably around that mark, and I let the guys have it. We weren't being tough enough, physical enough. Darian Ford was being really physical with Tayton and making it difficult for him, and I felt like our guys were just kind of opening the gate and letting them get in the paint. We couldn't get a stop to save our life. I tried every possible, trick in the bag. We eventually went to our matchup zone, and we got a couple stops, and we put Theo Singh in there, and he was able to do a great job walling up, and all of a sudden, Tayton's getting to the basket, scoring. Thomas, I think, got in a steal and a bucket, and the momentum just completely shifted. And then our fans gave us a huge boost. And of course, the good Lord shined on us. It's just surreal. I mean, it's been 17 years since I've been to the NCAA tournament. Don't take it for granted, and so super thankful that I have such a tough group of guys.
Coach, 17 years. Think about that. The fact that you get an opportunity to do this at a place like Troy and lead this team back to the NCAA tournament. Talk about that and what it means to you and your family.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a feeling for a long time that this team was special, that they could do it. We were talking about it in the press conference. We do a week-long defensive boot camp, and we're starting at like 5:45 in the morning, week-long, 2-on-2 defensive drills, no ball, 2 hours of just grind. I mean, it's a boot camp. And usually when you go in there, the guys are all sitting in a corner. They're not ready to go. They're dreading it. I walked in there, and I, whoa, this is special. This team's different than any other team that I've been around, and I knew they were special at that time. And then you get glimpses throughout the year, but I would say, the last 2 or 3 weeks, our guys have really grown together and become closer. They've been on the same page. I think guys just finally understand it may not be my night tonight, but I can always play great defense. I can rebound and just let the chips fall. And when we do that, we're really, really tough. And, what an amazing week this week has been. It's hard to put it in words.
Well, Scott, I can tell you this. I'm going to be the biggest Troy basketball fan for as long as you guys last in the NCAA tournament, because you are the first coach we've had that's, one, willing to step out of the sidelines to come here and do an interview, and two, is holding the phone yourself. How is your shoulder feeling right now? I know it's burning.
Hey, if it's wobbling a little bit, it's definitely feeling a little bit of pain, but hey, it's worth it. You live for these moments. You work so hard and so close so many times. I'm just, like I said, so very thankful to the good Lord that we're able to, get a taste of the NCAA tournament. The one time that I did go was one of the best weeks of my life, and I'm just so thankful that I'm able to share it with these guys on this team that have given so much to the program and to our university. And it's definitely something that I'll remember the rest of my life.
All right, I got one more for you, then we'll let you get back to your wings or whatever we got in sidelines, okay? Tell me why. Give me the pitch. You got all the college basketball world looking at you. Why is Troy going to be able to pull off an upset in the first round of the dance?
Because we're going to get more shot attempts, 10 more shot attempts than whoever we play, because we offensive rebound as good as any team in the country. We're 5th in the country at offensive rebounding. We turn teams over at a high rate. I think we're top 50 in the country. We hold teams to low field goal percentage. We got a dynamic playmaker in Tayton Connerway. We got a dude in Miles Rigsby and Thomas Dowd and Jackson Fields, and just guys all the way around. We've got 11-man rotation. We get to the free throw line at one of the highest rates. I would think other teams would not want to play us. We know it won't be easy, but this team is definitely a team that's capable of going in there and upsetting somebody.
Well, listen, man, congratulations on the win. Go celebrate. Go get your dinner. We appreciate you hanging out with us. And then, make sure you work that arm out a little bit. It's going to be a little stiff when you wake up in the
I'm
morning.
definitely going to need to do some stretches, and I don't think our guys are going to class tomorrow. If that, I don't know if that helps. I heard y'all's last segment, so we're going to enjoy
Nor
it. We
should they,
are a
Coach.
great academic
Nor should they,
institution,
Coach.
but
Nor should
yeah,
they. No, they ain't going to class,
Give,
Coach. Not doing that.
give them the day
appreciate you
off,
guys.
man.
Thank you. You know it.
Congratulations on the win,
Thank
man.
you.
That was awesome.
Yes, sir.
The
Thank you
Trojans
very
are
much.
not going to class tomorrow. That's the best news. I hope they were watching this and they were able to find out in that moment. They don't have to go to class in the moment, man. That was awesome. McCall, I'm going to try to get back on track here. You've been on both sides of it, right? You've been on the mid-major that advanced to the NCAA tournament. You've been on the power conference team that was able to make a deep run. How does that work as the mid-major? Like, how do you make that run? How do you pull it off? What do you do to try to instill it in a program and a team to be able to do what all of these mid-majors are going to try to do?
Yeah, I think when I was at Chattanooga, we had won the regular season. So I leaned on people that I was close to that had gone on runs in the conference tournament. I called Anthony Grant about his run at VCU. I called Steve Masiello about his run at Manhattan. And everyone's advice was the same. It was like, look, you may have the best team in the league, but you need to prepare your team that first round game, that quarterfinal game, you're going to be in a dogfight. And if your team's not prepared for that, if they think that like, oh my gosh, we look up at the under 8 timeout in the quarterfinal game and we beat this team twice this year and this game is close and you start to panic, then that's where it can go south. But preparing your team to be in close games, I think is the most important thing when you're at the mid-major level. And then when you win it, the best advice I got from Coach Donovan was enjoy it, celebrate it. You don't know when you're going to get back to this opportunity again. And then you're trying to win a game in the NCAA tournament. Now, in our situation, it was the worst 5-12 matchup of all time. I'm not bitter, but I'm a little bit bitter. I still understand how Indiana was a 5 seed when they won the Big Ten. I don't get that. Please explain that to me. They won the Big Ten. It was Yogi Ferrell. It was, I mean, they had a squad. Thomas Bryant, Troy Williams. They had a squad. They were a 5 seed. What are we doing? But celebrate this for these mid-major teams. Celebrate it. And then on Wednesday, get back to work and start to prepare to win a game in the NCAA tournament. But there's no better feeling, especially in a league where it's a one-bid league and you have to win 3 games in 3 days or 4 games in 4 days. When you do it, I'm just telling you, man, outside of my kids being born, it was the best day of my life. And I will never forget it. I'll never forget giving my wife a hug after the game. Of course. Yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, giving my wife a hug after the game, seeing my parents after the game. I mean, it was the best outside of my kids being born. It's the best day of my life, especially at that level, just because it's, not too many people get to experience it and you got to enjoy it. So for these coaches, you see the looks on their faces, enjoy it. Don't take it for granted because it's a hard place to get to.
All right, so I believe, have now 7 automatic bids. 7 teams have clinched a trip to the NCAA tournament. SIUE, High Point, Lipscomb, Drake out of the Missouri Valley, Omaha, who the destroyer of trash cans, Wofford, and now Troy. Henson, let's take Drake out of this equation, okay? Which one of those 6 teams outside of Drake do you think has a chance to be able to pull off an upset in the first round? Are you willing to wager any of your hard-earned NBA dollars on one of those teams pulling off an upset?
I like Troy. They've won 8 out of 9 going into the tournament. That matters. Winning. 8 out of 9. They've on I think on a 6-game win streak right now. That matters, man. Teams that are playing well tend to continue to play well. So if I had to pick someone, I'd probably go Troy. I was kind of smirking, kind of how McCall says enjoy the moment. On the other end of the spectrum, whoever Troy's going to play is stressing out because they don't want to be on ESPN with the upset. So it's so funny to see the varying differences of feelings. Like, I mean, the coach was so happy. It was kind of like made me smile for him to be so excited, like to get to the tournament, man. So it makes you appreciate that moment even more, especially from a player that's played in that tournament.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw High Point in that mix as well. They got a bunch of high
I'm
major
with you. I'm with you.
players on that roster.
I'm with you.
Um,
Allen Huss. I'm rolling with High Point. 29 wins on the season. If you look
You're on
at
the
their
Huss bus?
schedule, I mean, I'm on the Huss bus. What a jacket he had on yesterday too. That blue was that royal blue jacket he was rocking in that game. He's done
You
an
could tell that
unbelievable job.
you could tell that he lives in warm weather because you could see the tan line on the back of his head from where he was wearing his hat. So shout out to Huss. I think he got out on the golf course at some point here recently. Listen, guys, we got to get to a break. When we come back, we have conference tournaments and we got to break down. I'm going to give Henson a chance to be able to pick a winner in every league and who he's backing based off the odds they have at BetMGM.
Duke minus 360.
And we're also going to talk through our Field of 68 All-American teams because I have a feeling that both of these guys want to yell at me about something and a player that ended up on one of these teams. We'll talk about that coming up next.
2.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today. College basketball fans, are you ready to take your hoops game to a new level? Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just trying to win your March Madness office pool, Rhythm is here to give you the edge this season. With data-driven predictions for every single college basketball game left on the schedule, Rhythm helps you maximize your bets. And as March Madness kicks off, Rhythm's insights will help you spot those plucky Cinderellas that you know are going to shake up the NCAA tournament. But that's not all. When Selection Sunday rolls around, let Rhythm's AI-powered bracket generator do the heavy lifting for you. This is the same AI tool that performed 35% better than the average ESPN bracket last year. And here's the best part. Rhythm pairs perfectly with our Field of 68 expert analysis, giving you the 1-2 punch that you need for the rest of the college basketball season. So don't wait. Download Rhythm today and get ready to see college basketball and your betting results in a whole new light. Well, welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. Rob Dauster, John Henson, Matt McCall. We just heard from Scott Cross and we just heard from Dwight Perry, the two coaches that have punched a ticket to the NCAA tournament tonight. And now we're going to talk about some of the big boys. Power conference tournaments. Henson, I'm going to go to you first on this one. I'm going to let you decide where you want to go. Which league do you want to talk about first? Which conference tournament are you sitting here like, I can't wait for Wednesday, for quarterfinal Thursday, for semifinal Friday? Which is the conference tournament that you are the most excited to see here this week?
Easily SEC. I mean, you got some potential, Sweet 16 matchups in day one. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but Vanderbilt, Texas, Mississippi State, LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma is going to be a barn burner. These are legit games, hence why ESPN has pushed the big-time crew of Jay Billis and Dan Bonner to the SEC tournament. So I'm not the only one that feels like this is going to be a fun week for the SEC. And it's in Nashville. You got Broadway. You got the fans. Tennessee, Vanderbilt's down the road. Kentucky's going to come. Florida, obviously, is going to come up. And so that's going to be a fun place to be this week, man. I'm not a big conference tournament guy, but that's one I would love to be at.
McCall, what are you looking forward to the most in the SEC tournament? Is there a matchup? Is there something specific you want to see? I mean, you got to feel like Florida's got a pretty good chance to win it. They're plus 250 right now, second favorites in the conference.
There it is. See, Henson, come on, man. Yeah, you didn't return my phone call when I was trying to recruit you to the Gators. It's all right. We're all good, man. You're going to Carolina. You wanted that baby blue. No worries. This is going to be interesting. I'm more looking at it on teams that don't have a double bye. Who can cut down the nets? Is it Kentucky? Can Missouri kind of right the ship here, even though it hasn't been going well? Georgia was dead in the water a couple weeks ago. Dead in the water. When you look at their SEC wins to start February off, I think there are only 2 wins in the league where South Carolina and LSU are at the bottom of the standings, and Mike White has completely flipped this thing and got his team to the NCAA tournament. What is Texas going to do? Texas is on the outside looking in. Like, what is Rodney Terry and his squad going to do? Like, there's a lot of different storylines outside of the 4 teams that have gotten the double buys, right? Like, Auburn's getting a 1 seed. Regardless of what happens in this SEC tournament, Auburn's getting a 1 seed. And probably Florida is too. And then does Alabama get a 1 seed? Does Tennessee? There's just so many different storylines. I'm looking at the teams that don't have that double bye. A Kentucky, a Missouri, a Georgia who's surging right now. Because I think all those teams can make a run to the finals in this thing. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And you have bubble teams. If Oklahoma bows out in their first game, they're probably on the outside looking in. Texas needs to win, 2 or 3 games to get themselves in. So in terms of just, the drama, I'm with Henson. This is the best. This is the best one because there's a number of different things we can talk about.
I got a hot take for you guys on this. I think Kentucky's got a real chance to make a run here. Okay. And my take is because we know how good they are offensively. I don't think that's changed all season long. Like, they are what they are. They run the stuff that Pope wants to run, and they find a way to be able to make it work, right? In the last month, since they got blitzed by Ole Miss on February 4th, they have been a top 20 team in defensive efficiency, according to Torvik. And that was the problem that they had at the start of the year. They couldn't guard. They couldn't get enough stops. And now they are getting stops. Now they are playing like a team that is a top 20 defense in America for the last month. Henson, can this continue? Is this, am I crazy? Am I just drinking the big blue Kool-Aid? Or can Kentucky actually have a shot here to be able to make a run?
Yeah, Kentucky has one of the makings of teams like that are just high octane offense. Like, playing every day actually probably helps them, right? Because now the rhythm's going, they're feeling good, and they could fill it up. So I think that's why Kentucky could potentially run through that tournament, because if they get rolling in that gym the way they play offensively, it could be a long night for most teams because they're going to score. So I hope you're going to score with them and, let a couple shots not fall for you in Kentucky, because I hate that Kentucky's defense, kind of dictates their offense. I don't know. It's like, if they could just defend at a high level consistently, I think they would win a lot more games. But yeah, they're going to score. So if you can't score with them in this tournament setting, it's like an AAU tournament, man. You come in the gym early, you're a little tired, and Kentucky's going to start torching the nets. It could be a long week for some SEC teams.
McCall?
Yeah, don't count out Ole Miss either. I mean, this is another team that we don't talk about enough. Texas A&M, that's another team we don't talk about enough. We spend so much time talking about Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. There's just so many other good teams. I mean, to think that Auburn's going to cut the nets down here in the SEC tournament, we'll see what happens. But this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Look, can Kentucky, to Henson's point, can they sit down and guard when they get into a grinded out game? Can they really sit down and guard and defend to be able to win a basketball game when threes aren't falling? That's going to be the biggest key. But I have a lot of respect for Mark Pope, and I think we talked about this on Friday night. With just some of the quotes and what he's saying to the media. Like, he knows what's at stake. He knows the position he's in. He's not trying to coach speak and say things like winning is hard. He's not doing that. He knows winning is hard. And you hear it when he's sitting in front of a press conference. Like, you hear it. Like, he knows it. He knows what he's up against. So I just think that makes that team dangerous. They have a culture and a chemistry about them. And if they're hot, they can beat anybody.
All right, McCall, give me the next conference tournament that you find the most intriguing.
Probably the Big Ten.
Why?
I think we're all still questioning, is Michigan State for real? Like, are they only have 2 guys averaging double figures. Like, Jace Richardson is coming into his own. He's a superstar in the making. But is this is this Michigan State team for real? They won the league, and yes, they're for real. They just blew out Michigan yesterday. Yes, they're for real, but we're still questioning whether or not they are for real. By the way, side note, in terms of Nebraska not even making the field here, there was 5 teams that were tied at 7-13. 5 teams that were tied at 7-13, and Nebraska, who a week ago was on the bubble, didn't get in. I mean, that loss, that buzzer beater loss to Minnesota cost them to even get in their conference tournament. Like, that is crazy to think about. There was 5 teams that were 7-13. That's besides the point. I'm intrigued here. I want to see what happens with this field. I want to see what Indiana does. I want to see, Ohio State, all the quad 1 wins that they have. Are they for real? Can they win a couple games in this field? So the Big Ten would be second, but as I was saying, the Big Ten, I still want to see what happens in the Garden. I want to see what happens. It's going to be electric. The St. John's fans versus the UConn fans. Who's got more fans in that building? It was one-sided last year. We'll see what happens this year. What does Xavier do? What does Creighton do? What does Marquette do? But can we get a Rick Pitino, Danny Hurley final in the Garden for a Big East tournament championship? Now, if you could tell me we're getting that, I'm picking that one.
Yeah, well, I think that's what's going to end up happening, and we'll get to that in a second. But Henson, I want to pick your brain on Michigan State because you cracked a smile when McCall said, "Is Michigan State for real?" Do you think that Michigan State is for real? Are you sold yet?
I had to pick a team on something I did the other day that I just was skeptical on, and it's not a slight on Michigan State at all. But if I had to choose a team that I don't know about, I would say Michigan State. Now, they're good. They're going to win games, and they beat 5 ranked teams in the last 6. So, like, on paper, they're legit. But, yeah, are they for real? Like, can they really go and make a run in the tournament when they meet up with a, team that's really good? I don't know. So it'll be fun to see what this tournament. I think this has the Big Ten tournament has the most variance. I think this is a tournament that you don't know where it could go, right? Like, Indiana's talented enough to win the whole thing, but are they going to come in locked in? Michigan, same way. Like, is Michigan going to use that loss as motivation? So yeah, I think this has the highest amount of scenarios where teams could win, and I don't think it's going to be Michigan State. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if they win the Big Ten. I'm 100% on the bandwagon of them being for real, though. This feels like your prototypical.
We keep doubting them. We keep doubting them, and they just keep winning. Yeah. We doubted them to beat Michigan 3 or 4 weeks ago, whenever it was, and like, who's the best team in the Big Ten? And they beat them. Like, we keep doubting. That's my only thing. So we just keep doubting this team. So why are we doubting this team? They're tough. Like, they're balanced. They're unselfish. They play fast. There's so many different things that says this is winning basketball.
I don't think on paper they don't look like a team. Like, if you look at the roster, you look at the breakdown, you go to the KenPom page, you do all that stuff. They don't look like a team that should be winning games at this level, right? But then you see them play, and you see Trey Holloman like going up to 2 guys and pushing them both in the chest at the same time because they're standing on the logo while someone like. That I'll go to war with that Trey Holloman guy. Like, that dude is the kind of player that thrives in the Tom Izzo system. And
hold on, and bring that up too. If I'm Dusty May and I see that, I'm more mad at my team. You guys want to pick a fight at the end of the game? Like, where was the fight at the beginning of the game? Where was your fight? Like, hey, like, oh, we're gonna be Tony tough guys at the end of the game when we're down 18. Like, where's the fight at the beginning of the game? Like, where are you guys at? And he kind of alluded to it in his press conference, but he couldn't come out and say that. But that's what I felt like Dusty was saying in his press conference. No, like, they deserve to rub our noses in it. We didn't fight. Where's our fight? But I'll say this, Michigan, we've seen it all year. Like, they've got some things to figure out now that the clock's at 0. But we'll see what happens. But that's my point with this Michigan State team is they don't seem to have issues in the locker room. They don't seem to have jealousy or envy or any of these things, which makes them dangerous. We've seen all these super talented teams, Kansas being one of them, that have struggled. It's been this roller coaster of a year. And you don't know what's going on in that locker room. When you see a team like Michigan State who has 2 guys averaging double figures, yet they have, 8 or 9 guys averaging between 8 points per game and 13 points per game, that shows how unselfish they are. They don't have issues in the locker room. They're not jealous of this guy's getting paid X amount of dollars, or this guy's getting too many shots, or why are you running actions for only him? Where are my actions? Why aren't you giving me the ball? My agent's telling me I got to do that. They don't have that. That's what makes them good. That's why Tom Izzo is continuing to coach. That's why he's this living legend that hasn't said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't for me, because he has a team that embodies the things that he's about.
All right, Henson, I gave you Kentucky plus 2,200 to win the SEC tournament. I'm going to give you another one, and I want you to tell me if you think I'm crazy on this one. Xavier
crazy.
plus 1,100 to win the Big East tournament. I think Xavier is playing as well as any team in the Big East right now. They get a first round or a quarterfinal game against a Marquette team that has been struggling, and they play their next game against St. John's, who they hung with in their first game at home, and then on the road in Madison Square Garden a month ago, they were up by 19 with 13 minutes left in the second half before they gave that one away. Xavier's problem this year has been giving away big leads. They did it throughout the season. It's why they're currently sitting on the bubble instead of being a team that should be comfortably in the field. I think Xavier's got a very real chance to win this thing. They are going to have one of the best guards on the floor and the best overall backcourt. I think in every game that they play in this Big East tournament, with the way that these guys are playing, I'm in on Sean Miller's team. I'm in on Ryan Conwell. I'm in on the Xavier Musketeers. 11-1 odds. Give me all the Xavier, Henson.
Yeah, when you look at the path, they get a team that they feel good about, and also just from a motivation standpoint, I think they know that they need to win games and create some style points. So getting past Marquette, I think could be an issue, because Marquette's coming in, and we know Shaka Smart teams that are kind of backs against the wall. People aren't really speaking on them. Fight or flight tend to perform well. Shaka Smart likes having a 5 by his name, because now he can use that as motivation. So they've got a tough path. I mean, by all means, they could win it, but I can't see them Marquette, St. John's, and then you got to probably meet up with a UConn, Creighton type, team. Maybe on the first couple nights would be cool, but on the championship night, the third night in a row, whew, good luck.
Yeah, if they make it, it would cost us a chance to get Pitino and Hurley in that building once again after the John. I was there. I was there on February 23rd. That was a depantsing. That was an obliteration. That was it looked like older brother playing against little brother when the Johnnies lost, or the Johnnies beat UConn there. What would that Garden be like, McCall? What do you think that building would be like if we had those two playing for a Big East championship on Saturday night in MSG? Like that's what the Big East tournament is all about. You got
That's
the two.
what it's about.
Those are the two biggest coaching brands right now, right?
Yes, that's what it's about. That's what we need to see. I mean, we were talking about the two biggest brands in the A10 earlier today, me, you, and Jeff Goodman, and Dayton and VCU. That's Dayton VCU on steroids. Like that is what UConn and St. John's would be in the final of the Big East tournament. That's the old Big East days. That's the Georgetown. That's Patrick Ewing. That's that's what we need to see. A lot of other good teams, anyone can make a run, but to have that for a title, everybody in the country is tuning into that. You have these two polarizing figures in college basketball, and Danny Hurley and Rick Pitino, and they're going head to head for a third straight time. It would be like if we got Nate Oates versus Bruce Pearl in the SEC tournament, in the ACC tournament final. If we got that, like that's another one. Like it's like the storylines and the rivalry between the coaches and how their personalities.
Like just how fake nice they are going to be to each other leading up to that.
Yeah, like here's the handshake. No, we don't like each other. We don't like each other, right? Like we don't like each other. We don't like each other at all. I've been saying it all week on the radio. Auburn, Alabama now, currently, Henson, and I think you would agree with this, currently. I'm not saying of all time. I'm saying currently. Auburn, Alabama is the best rivalry in college basketball. Currently. Because of the two coaches, because of the storylines, because of everything. But I'm saying St. John's and UConn is coming up close. North Carolina Duke right now is not a rivalry. It's one-sided. It's not currently. I'm saying currently.
Oh, you're twisting the knife, man. You're just twisting the
I'm
knife.
just saying.
I never knew McCall to be a "What have you done for me lately?" What happened like just a year ago? What happened less than 12 months ago? Like, what happened less than 12 months ago? Like, it was belt to ass. So what are you talking about?
We're living in the present moment. We're present moment.
I agree.
Present moment.
But you can't say it's the best rivalry in college basketball in 11 months. That doesn't even make sense.
Best rivalry in college basketball this year?
Yes.
Just say it's the best up and coming. I mean, it's just no hit. Where's the history? What happened in the game 2 years ago? You remember? Like, come on, be for
I'm
real.
just saying. I'm watching. I'm seeing the crane. I'm seeing all this stuff. What these two coaches are doing. I'm just saying. It's okay. Let me say this. Maybe not.
Sure. It's got legs,
let me say this.
Like,
hold on. Let me back up. Let me back up. Entertaining rivalry right now. Entertaining. Currently, most entertaining rivalry.
I personally didn't run to my couch to see Auburn play Alabama. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I didn't like say, oh my God, I gotta lock in on this. I mean, just to be honest. I mean, it was a great game, but like end of the day, there's football schools. Let's just keep it over. It's called how we see it. They're football schools. They are. They are. What are we talking about? They are.
Here's the way that I would phrase it: is that I think Auburn, Alabama for an SEC championship would be second in terms of the matchups that I want to see on either Saturday or Sunday to St. John's UConn for a Big East championship. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, McCall.
We got guys getting ejected. We got this is.
Come on, man, it's fun.
It's the hottest ticket in LA. It's a hot ticket. I mean, it's a hot ticket. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a hot ticket, but like we got to have some historical background. Like they got to meet each other in the tournament. There's got to be championships exchange. I mean, they haven't even. What have they done? Like, how can we call this a rivalry? Like from a standpoint of rivalries, can't just be regular season. It has to be, like St. John's and UConn. Like that's about that the years, decades of just. Like I said, I like Gonzaga and St. Mary's. Yeah, we're on the East Coast. We don't watch it, but that's got legs. We're going back and forth and, winning the conference. I don't know.
Auburn, Alabama doesn't have legs. Auburn, Alabama doesn't have legs.
Like I said, you can't even tell me you can't even tell me what happened 2 years ago. Like, what are you talking about? He can't even tell me.
I can't tell you what happened 2 years ago in football, but I know they don't like each other.
They definitely don't like each other. Maybe I'm just out of touch. I don't go to Alabama. I'm not an Alabama guy. I don't know what's going on down there.
Henson, just do me a favor. If they play in the SEC tournament title game, you don't have to run to your couch. Just at least walk to it.
Walk.
You don't even have to be in the couch. Yeah, you could sit in the chair.
You can watch it in your kitchen.
I mean, look, men lie. Women lie. Numbers don't lie. No matter if Carolina is 0-30 and Duke is 30-0. It's on primetime TV on Saturday night. I don't care who's playing. I don't care if it's Auburn, Alabama. I don't care if it's Roll Tide, Willie versus Bruce Pearl. It's got a lot. I'll be 50 before we can say, oh my God, it's the best rivalry in college basketball.
Henson, I turned the game off in the second half the other day. I turned the game off. It was over. It was a wrap.
Turn it off. We were up 7 though. We were up 7 coming in. And Duke was.
Hey,
so
you're good to go because Shammond Williams told us that that the rivalry ended in 2022 when you guys retired Coach K in the Final Four. So you're good to go.
One more thing before we have to leave. When you type in Alabama Auburn on Google, the football score comes up. I'm just saying.
All right, listen, we got to get to break. Coming on up on the other side, we're going to talk about the All-American teams that we announced today. Field of 68 after dark. As teams are fighting to get off the bubble and into the field of 68, I got a beverage for you that's been off the bubble since day one. Dad Water. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail unlike anything else on the market today. If you're tired of the same old beers and seltzers on game day, crack open something different. Dad Water is made with tequila, water, and natural flavors. Nothing artificial, no BS. It's 100 calories, zero sugar, zero carbs, gluten-free, so if you're on a diet like me, you're good to go. Dad Water is also an Indiana brand. College Hoops is in its DNA, and they want you to enjoy a great lineup of products all tournament long. Dad Water is the ultimate game time drink with no bubbles. It just drinks like water. Clean, smooth, refreshing, and without those burps. So take it from me. This is the easiest drinking adult beverage I've ever had. Dad Water is now available at Target, Total Wine and Liquor, and Meijer, as well as your favorite local liquor stores. Or you can order online at drinkdadwater.com. Dad Water, tequila, water, natural flavor. Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark. We are live on YouTube, live on Sirius XM, Channel 84. Rob Dauster, Matt McCall, and John Henson. Gentlemen, we got to talk about our All-American teams here. So we went with Cooper Flagg and Janai Broom, co-player of the year. That's how the votes kind of played out. John Shire was coach of the year. Cooper Flagg, obviously, freshman of the year. Jemai Meshack, of Tennessee, the defensive player of the year. John Tanji from Wisconsin, the transfer of the year. I don't know if there's too much controversy there beyond the co-player of the year thing, and I'll hit you guys on that in a second. But here, let's start with our first team All-American conversation. Braden Smith, Walter Clayton Jr., Chucky Hepburn from Louisville, Cooper Flagg, and Janai Broom. Let's start with Chucky Hepburn, because I think that is the name that we've gotten the most pushback on in terms of the voting us to name first team All-American. Full disclosure, I was one of the people that voted that had Chucky Hepburn first team All-America. I think that given the way that Louisville's season played out and what he did during the ACC run to get them to 18-2 was as impressive as any guard that we saw in college basketball this year. Henson, you don't seem to agree with me on that take.
Great season, Chucky Hepburn. Awesome, love him. Two things: he played in the ACC. You can call it what you want. We have to talk about it, right? Like, put Walter Clayton in the ACC. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I disagree with that. I think Zakai Ziegler or even PJ Haggerty has more of a case to be above him. Maybe not first team, but so that's one that I kind of was remiss on. And I guess we'll go down to teams. But yeah, for first team, Chucky Hepburn, great season, but first team, I don't think he's going to make an All-American team on the AP. Like, I don't think he's going to be voted that. I mean, there's so many good guards. I just named two guards that are probably going to be on some All-American team. Even Mark Sears, like, he should be first team too. Like, so that's my gripe. But other than that, I love the list. All those players are deserving. Every single last one, not even close.
McCall, any gripes?
I'm going to agree with Henson on this one. I mean, even Chaz Lanier, for Tennessee, I would have him over there over Chucky Hepburn, Zakai Ziegler, or Chaz Lanier. One of the two of them put on that list. I can't argue anybody else that's on there. Agree with Walter Clayton, with what the Gators are doing. I'm with Henson too, Mark Sears, but to have Hepburn up there, that would be my only question mark on the first team.
What about the co-player of the year decision? Going with that.
How do you not? I mean, I don't know how Henson feels, but I go back and forth. It's like on Thursday, I'm Janai Broom because he plays in a better league. On Saturday, I'm Cooper Flagg because he's just continuing to dominate and put up the numbers. On Wednesday, I'm Cooper Flagg because Janai Broom only has 9 points. On Saturday, I'm Janai Broom because he has 30 or 35. I go back and forth. It's like the Greg Sankey coin flip with the women's basketball tournament. I just flip a coin and give it to one of them, or do co-players of the year.
Henson? Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I agree. It's tough. You go back and forth. Janai Broom has dominated the best league. Arguably the best amount of teams that play at a high level. I mean, we're looking at 12, 13 teams maybe ever for the SEC, and he's dominated. he's dominated. So it's tough. I like the Cole decision. I think it's going to be really close. So I'm interested to see what happens. But I mean, Cooper Flag, Duke has been dominant, and I think we have to take that into account. It's not like they've been skating on by. I mean, they're winning by like an average of like 20 points a game.
I mean,
so
my question would be, when does the voting stop? Is it right before the Final Four? Like who goes on a run?
On the award. It depends on which award it is. There's 6. Go ahead, John.
I think they said. We looked it up. I think the second weekend, the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, I think is when it stops for voting.
I mean,
the 24th.
And there's also there's 6 recognized National Player of the Year awards in college basketball, and I'm 100% positive that there are going to at least one is going to be each guy. They're both going to win a National Player of the Year award. One of them, is the way I feel about it. All right, let's get to second team All-Americans for what we ended up with on the field of 68. Mark Sears from Alabama, Cam Jones from Marquette, R.J. Lewis from St. John's, John Tonji from Wisconsin, and J.T. Toppin from Texas Tech. And then third team was Donovan Dent from New Mexico, Javon Small from West Virginia, your boy Chaz Lanier, Eric Dixon, and Ryan Kalkbrenner. Real quick, you got 30 seconds, Matt. Anybody there that you give me one name not on that list that needs to be on that list? You each got about 30 seconds.
Zuby Ejiofor. Zuby Ejiofor needs to be on that list. I don't understand why he's not. In my opinion, there's a case he could be Big East Player of the Year. So what he brings to that St. John's team, his rebounding, his ability to switch pick and rolls. He made a game winner the other day against Marquette. Zuby Ejiofor needs to be on that list.
I'm going to take Eric Dixon off because, I mean, if we're talking win, I think winning matters. So if you're not going to care about winning, then we need to put Trey Johnson on there leading the Big 12 as a freshman in scoring. He needs to be on there if that's what we're doing. So that's my only gripe.
Fair enough. Who would you replace him with? PJ Haggerty?
Probably Haggerty or Zeke. I mean, everyone would move down a bit, but yeah, Haggerty or Zeke. I think Haggerty has to be. Memphis has to get someone on there, in my opinion. Haggerty, he's having 21, 5, and 5, or 21, 5, and almost 4 assists. Like, come on, they won AAC. He's got to be somewhere on the list.
Yep, I don't disagree with that at all. He was one of the guys who got a lot of votes. All right, you got about 10 seconds. Henson, give me a toast of the night.
Ooh, let's go Wofford. Congratulations, fellas.
Troy, congratulations.
Troy. My toast of the night is going to go out to the Delaware Blue Hens and Martin Inglesby, the 12 seed in the CAA tournament, picked off number 1 seed Towson 82-72 tonight. They are trying to become just the 3rd team ever to win 5 games in 5 days to win the conference tournament they play in. The other 2 teams, of course, UConn in 2011 and NC State last season in 2023. Listen. Yeah, shout out to Kevin Keats, man. Pour one out for Kevin Keats.
7 mil on the way out.
Oh, he made it, man. We will be here Tuesday night, 11 p.m., and then Wednesday through Saturday at midnight on the field of 68 after dark. Hang tight. We're going to be back with the afters for about 10 minutes. So if you're in the chat, fire away with some questions, and we will see you guys tomorrow night if you're on Sirius XM, field of 68 after dark. Now is your chance to prove you're smarter than the field of 68. We're hosting a Survivor contest with our partner Splash Sports. There's a $25 entry fee, a 25 entry max in the contest, and more than 1,700 spots available, which means there's a $40,000 max prize for the winner. Survivor is the future of March Madness. Each day you pick a team to win. If they win, you advance. We'll also be running a free to enter bracket contest as well as a second chance Survivor in the Sweet 16. So prove you know more ball than the field of 68 on Splash Sports. I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. We're live. It's the afters. Hit the chat.
I'm not getting close to any bear.
My career high on the court is 28.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. We are live in the afters. We'll be here for about 10 minutes tonight. It's going to be a quick one. We got to get our sleep when we can, gentlemen. We got to get our sleep when we can. John Henson, Matt McCall. My name is Rob Dauster. Dagan, do we have any questions in the chat?
Good evening, gentlemen. We do. We have a few questions rolling in. We'll start here. CD wants to know, what seed do you guys see Illinois getting? Obviously, we have them as the 7th seed right now in our latest bracket.
I mean, how deep are they going to run in the Big Ten tournament, right? Like, if they get knocked out,
that's the biggest. Yeah,
if they get knocked
that's
out
the
in
biggest
second
thing. I
round,
mean, they can go anywhere from a 7 to probably a 4. You know, if they make a run in the Big Ten tournament, I would think they could get as high as a 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like Purdue.
They could go up a seed line or two, maybe, but you know they'd have to be impressive. But they could get up to I say get up to Illinois is the 7th seed. Is just there's going to be some big time matchups early from these like underachieving teams. It's going to be interesting.
Can you imagine if you're seeing Illinois as in the second round as a 2 seed? Can you imagine?
Think about the 7 seeds right now. Think about the 7 seeds right now. Illinois, BYU, who might be, by the way, the hottest team in college basketball right now. They just won 8 in a row in 10 of the last 12. And then Missouri, who won at Florida and beat Auburn already this season, or beat Alabama already this season. That's tough.
Or like I stand by this. The second game we played every year when we were top 1 or 2 seed was the toughest game. Now we lost late, but like we're losing against the Kentuckys, and it's a trip to the Final Four on the line. So yeah, that's going to be a tough game. So I mean, when you look at the bracket, if a field of 68, I mean, Houston would have to see UConn on like Saturday, like that. That's no fun, and that could be an upset for sure. No question.
Yeah. Even those 8 seeds, man. You got Gonzaga, you got UConn,
Xavier's a 12.
There's a lot of really good teams down the bottom of the bracket. And Oregon is a 4. Like, what is happening right now? Oregon's a 4 seed? What are we doing? We got Oregon as a 4 seed and Ohio State in the bracket. Oregon is a 4 seed, Ohio State in the bracket. What are we doing here? What is happening? This makes no sense.
Where's Kansas?
Question.
Think about that. Where's Kansas? Where's Kansas?
6 seed. They're going to get dropped by Drake. Then Bill Self's going to retire, and Ben McCollum's going to get the Kansas job.
If Kansas loses in their first game in the Big 12 tourney, they're going to be an 8 seed. They'll be an 8. Yeah. Can you imagine if you're a 1 seed and you have to see Kansas in the second round? Come on, man.
Come on, man. That's tough. All right, Dag, we got any other questions? What do we got?
We do. William has like a 2-parter here. What contender could most use a conference tournament run? And then on the flip side, which contender would be best served to lose early? So 2 parts here.
You want to take that first, Henson?
So what contender would be best served to in the tournament?
Define contender. Auburn. Is that like top 4 seed, top 2 seed?
Conference tournament. Well, I mean, whatever. Whoever you guys have as contenders. I mean, I know you'll have different
Auburn needs to win some games. They need to feel good about themselves. They've dropped a couple. Auburn's a team that needs to feel good, and they need to use this tournament as motivation. I think, a team that maybe needs to break the rest. I mean, I don't know, man.
The one I would say is
let's go Duke. Let's go Duke. Duke, I don't feel like nothing. If Duke wins, they stay. They stay. They lose, they stay. I think Duke is a team that might be better served taking a loss and coming back home and regrouping. As Coach said, he said when we lost that game, it kind of got their attention.
Yeah, I would just say Iowa State because Iowa State is so banged up. Give Tim and Lipsy a week to kind of hope that thumb and that shoulder are feeling better. Give Keyshawn Gilbert some time to start feeling better. Like they need to rest up. They don't need to play 3 games in 3 days or 4 games in 4 days. Go get healthy. Go take an ice bath. Go get what are the shots that you take so you don't feel your ankle anymore when you got a sprained ankle? Go give them a couple of those. Cortisone
or whatever.
What is it?
Yeah.
Cortisone. Yeah, go get some cortisone, man.
Another one too. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, you're right about Auburn. Auburn was definitely the one that I was thinking of. McCall, you got?
I got 2. The Crab 5, Maryland, just riding high right now. Only playing 5 guys. No, that's their nickname, the Crab 5. Why are you guys laughing?
No, it is.
Okay,
I saw that.
I'm not saying it's a good nickname, but that's their nickname.
I like it, man. I think it's good.
I'll tell you what, man. We interviewed Julian Reese the other day on NBC. Like he, how do you not root for a guy like that? That would be one that I can, look, they could lose early and get their legs underneath them because they have one of the more talented starting 5s in college basketball. And then I would say the Florida Gators, and I say this just because them guys are feeling themselves, and not that we've seen anything in the media or anything, but you go on the road and you beat Alabama, you go on the road and you beat Auburn, you come home, you finish your season on senior night and blow out Ole Miss, like you're feeling pretty good. If they drop a game in the SEC tournament, Coach Todd Golden probably has their attention. He's got their attention now going to the NCAA tournament. So that could bode well for a team like that is riding so high right now.
And Gainesville is rocking with Florida basketball. Gainesville is rocking right now too. They feeling real good about themselves.
Rocking, you know it. Come on, man. You know it.
So we hit on some conference tournaments a little bit earlier. One we didn't get to, the Big 12. Megan wants to know, who do you guys have winning that conference tournament?
John?
I want to go Houston, man. I just think you give Houston 2 days off, and then you got to go play them. And then the next game, considering BYU, you got to play Houston again. I think Houston, by way of how they play their style of play, I think they're just going to teams are going to be burnt out. I think Houston's going to win that.
McCall?
Yeah, just looking at the path. I mean, I think they beat West Virginia. The defense is just so swarming. They're getting the whole week to get their legs underneath them. So, when they run out there and trap a pick and roll and they rotate out of it, it'll be as hard as they've played all season long. I want to say Texas Tech because I love what Grant McCaslin's doing with that team, but I cannot pick against the Houston Cougars.
Yeah, I think it probably ends up being Houston, but that BYU plus 1,000, man, that BYU 10-1 odds is something that is kind of intriguing. How did they do against Houston, by the way? Let me bring that up. They lost the only time that they played, but it was on the road. I
just can't on a neutral. I'm not a BYU believer on a neutral. I'm just not.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Dagan, you got anything else?
Yes, our final one. Norm wants to know, who will be a player that comes out of nowhere in the tournament and put himself on the map?
Ooh.
The classic.
You mean like a mid-major guy? Can we get a little clarity on
this?
Do
whatever.
A mid-major guy, a high-major guy?
They can't currently be on the map because they got to be put on the map.
So what is
can't currently be on
the map because they have to be put on the map.
Yeah, the people that are on the map. Like Janai Broom is obviously on the map.
Can we get an example? Can we get a name of guys?
Probably like an Elijah Martin, I would say, from FAU.
Yeah, he said
like
Dante
a Jack
DiVincenzo.
Golke kind of a guy.
Was his example in the question?
Who was it?
DiVincenzo.
Oh, like a guy off the bench to end up being a pro that no one really knows about.
Oh,
I got one for you, and I don't know if they're going to get in, but I think that they're the hottest team in the Mountain West. and I think that they have a chance to be able to make a little bit of run here in the Mountain West. Nick Clifford. I don't know how much you guys have watched Colorado State, but Nick Clifford's a fifth-year senior. He is, you know how there are good athletes, then there are great college athletes, and then there are guys that you watch and you just know that he has NBA athleticism. He's one of those dudes that has NBA athleticism. Averaged like 17 rebounds. He's like 6'7". His three-point shot is there. If Colorado State makes a run, it's going to be because Nick Clifford takes over and really makes a name for himself in this tournament. They got to get there first, though. You got someone, Henson?
I don't have. I'm looking at. I don't have. I'm at a loss. There ain't no John Moran out there. I'll tell you that.
There's not a John Morant, but this guy Donovan Newby from Wilmington, he goes for 24 tonight against Charleston, and Wilmington's going to line up and play against Delaware tomorrow to get into the NCAA tournament. And you got to think that Wilmington's going to be a big favorite. Takeo Spikes and what he's doing with this team. This team plays hard. They fly it around. Shout out to Kevin Keats. Let's say Takeo Spikes. Sorry, Takeo Siddle. Sorry. Takeo Siddle. Sorry. Shout out to Kevin Keats. He worked for him there at Wilmington. But Donovan Newby, I mean, he can fill it up. And it's one of those stories where where is Wilmington seated coming out of the CAA? I'm not guaranteeing victory against Delaware tomorrow, but you got to think they're favored. And someone like that can get hot in the tournament like he did tonight in the game, that's what you're looking for. I can't believe I said Takeo Spikes. It must be late. It's March. We've been up for a while.
Yeah. All right. I got one more for you guys. Okay.
What about the kid Marcialunas? Nobody really knows who that is. I think he could. I think he could become a household name. You know, hey, America loves a white guy who's cooking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, I got, especially when they got a goofy name. I got another one for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll be very curious if you guys know who this guy is. Aniwa Tate Jones. Do you know who Aniwa Tate Jones is? He averages 20 a game. He is UC San Diego's leading scorer. He is the Triton's leading scorer. We did a thing with the Big West back in the preseason, their media day, and I got to interview this kid, and he is great personality. He's from New Zealand, so obviously he's going to have a great personality. And yeah, he is an absolute bucket getter. And one of the reasons why the Tritons have a chance to be able to be one of a two-bid Big West, which I kind of hope happens, that'd be awesome, is Aniwa Tate Jones. So if you got a 6'6" dude named Aniwa Tate Jones from New Zealand out here getting buckets, like, you know, if they have a chance to win, if they win, he's going to be the star. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the darling of March Madness. So that's my pick. Listen, this has been fun. Field of 68 after dark. We will be back 11 p.m. tomorrow night, and then midnight on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from a whole bunch of different locations. Sunday, 5:30 p.m., our 6.5-hour live stream for Selection Sunday begins. We'll be rolling through. Every single person from the Field of 68 after dark is going to make an appearance at some point on that Selection Sunday live stream. So for Matt McCall, for John Henson, for our producer, Dagan Hughes, and for Dwight Perry and Scott Cross, appreciate them joining us here on the Field of 68. This has been After Dark.